Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about BB22 All-Stars. This was a couple of tough episodes to watch, but good stuff, good stuff.
Yes, our second eviction, right? But
Yes.
first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, there is a link in the description. All right, so we've got two episodes we're recapping now.
Yeah, we're going to recap Wednesday and Thursday's episode and talk about the state of the house and what this new HOH means. Yeah, it's remember just like recently we were really excited about this season.
We were.
And now here we are, guys. Okay, well there is some good gameplay happening under a whole bunch of crap. So let's get to it.
Agreed. Yes. Yeah, so we're coming off of Memphis naming Nicole, Anthony, and David as the nominees, and his it was a speech, right?
His aggressiveness.
Yes.
He is direct and has a tone.
Yeah, right. So Nicole is emotional. She's sad, obviously, to be on the block. David is angry, but he's going to like use this anger to, you know, fuel himself to play for veto. But they're not the only two. Like Danny's saying like, this is not cool. I'm not happy with what Memphis is doing as a human being.
Right.
So like they didn't show a whole lot of this, but as we said in our last video, like a lot of the house was upset by this speech. Yeah. So it's a very contentious moment.
Yeah, for sure. I loved when Tyler was giving David a pep talk and he was like, I don't know how you played in 1943, but
yes, I loved that.
I was like, oh snap, Memphis, they think he's old.
Yep.
I'm probably the same age as Memphis. Okay. But he acts way old. It's not actual age. It's the way he acts. We see Janelle giving Nicole Anthony a pep talk. Through line of the week.
This is when it's still nice to see Janelle and Nicole communicating. Like they're friends at this point. And Janelle's like, I did not know this was happening. Well, we are going to try to keep you.
Not really friends. Nicole turned on her pretty quickly, but yes, this was the beginning before it got real bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Janelle and Kaser go to the HOH room and, you know, of course they like have their shocked faces on when they're talking to Memphis, like, oh my God, like I had no idea what you were going to do. Like, this is so crazy. But they're really there to be like, this, you messed it up, but let's fix it. Right. Like there's Janelle is saying like, there are actual targets in the house, like Nicole Franzel. She has won. She is sneaky. Like maybe we could take one of these people down, Nicole, and backdoor Nicole Franzel. And they're trying to like kind of reason with him here, but he's not really
just like, meh.
He doesn't want to take
exactly. He says the road of least resistance. Like he's giving people a lot of hints without actually giving information out, but he's saying the things like, don't make a big move, path of least resistance. Like he's telling them what he's really thinking without giving names, you know?
Yeah, that is his strategy there. And so he's like, as much as he's like listening to these people, he's not going to backdoor anybody at the end of the day. Like that's just not what he wants his HOH reign to be. The other problem though, is that Janelle is calling out a bunch of people that Memphis is working with. And she, I guess, doesn't fully realize that he's in with them, but she's saying like Danny, Cody, Tyler, Nicole Franzel, all these names that we know that Memphis is in with, they're like under him and Cody. You know, if his commission is like the top of the chain, then these are his underlings. So then he kind of talks to Cody and he's like, Janelle and Kaser have kind of clocked a little bit of our alliance here.
Right. Like they have clocked it. I just wish they would have clocked that Memphis is in on it. He was never had Keisha's back. Like They're living in partial delusional world because they haven't figured that part out. Patty, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thanks,
you
Patty.
Gotta get your Nerdtainment, BB Entertainment. Yes, you do. Thank you. So what I did think was, I mean, obviously they're clocking 4 of the 6 in that alliance, and then they're like, and Nicole F has Cody, like the 2 of them are tight, and Memphis is like, no, I don't think they're working together, because that's Memphis being like, I'm working with Cody, not Nicole Franzel, and it's like, oh, Memphis, they're actually giving you a little bit of info, and you're just like, no, he like goes off on retails, and he's like, they're making stuff up. Like they're working together. And we're like, oh,
I know. Yeah. So the first thing that after Memphis tells Cody, he goes to Tyler, Danny. I'm not sure if Nicole Franzel was there for this conversation, but it's at least the 3 of them. And he's saying like, well, now we got to take down David and backdoor Janelle or Kaser. Like they're coming after us. They know we're working together. They also show the scene where Janelle just walks into the room and all 4 of them are there together. Like that's how she found out about their alliance. She just walked into a room and was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're all working together, because it got real awkward as soon as I walked through the door.
It sure did. And I love that she's like, and then I just sat down.
Yeah. Janelle's
not like, I'm not going to walk out.
Leave. Yeah.
I sit down and they're dead silence. Got nothing else to say.
I'm going to make myself at home here in my star costume. It's great. But basically, like, both sides are trying to get Memphis to backdoor the other. As soon as Nicole Franzel gets this information, she's busy. I think I might be getting ahead of ourselves here, but we might be at the veto pick now. Okay.
Well, we missed a little bit of a conversation about parenting that I just want to circle back to, because Enzo's talking about being a dad. Nicole wants to be a mom. She's getting married soon. And then Kevin goes into his, adoption or surrogacy, the path that he wants to go down. And I had forgotten that I love that. I love adopting. I love that storyline. But I was like, oh no, Kevin, you're not winning.
Oh no, you're not going to get that money. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I'm so sorry if this holds up your parenting plans, because
it is so expensive.
This isn't the way. This ain't how you're getting the money. So sorry about that, guy.
Yes, right.
But that's on you. Okay. Now we get to the veto draw, and again we see like Memphis being like, I'm treading very lightly. Like I can't show. He's actually in a great spot, as annoying and frustrating as it is for us. But he's got this 6-person alliance, and he's got these 2 people who are delusional, thinking he's working with them. And they're like, he's got all this info coming left, right, and center. So he's not going to go after either side.
No, he wants to keep all these people who are his friends in the house. Of course, like he's not working with Nicole, Anthony, or David, so they can just stay sitting there right on the block. But we get to pick our veto players. We get Ian, Tyler, and Nicole Franzel. I think we talked about this in our last video, but we see them get selected.
Yeah. No house gets choice.
Right. And then we see Ian's punishment as announced. BB All Star Wars.
All Star Wars. Yes, he was, what was it? Dirk something. He's been performing all week. And those are so fun, because you start out on a high note, you're wearing a costume, you're performing for a room full of people, and then slowly the people just start
They're
leaving.
like, I'm out. I love when Enzo was like whoever the voiceover is like, okay, one more time with feeling. And Enzo's like, I'm out. Like, good luck. I'm going to the backyard.
I'm done here.
And slowly everybody in the house is like, Janelle's like, Ian just won't stop with whatever it is he's doing. Like, do you see these bags under my eyes? Those are because of Ian. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, because
Ian.
Especially the first night, they had him doing it in every room in the middle of the night. Like, they're all being woken up to him just like being like,
right.
The whatever. Now I had all the lines memorized this whole week, and now I can't remember any of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you slowly see him like performing to one person in a room, and then they're like,
and
but it's fun.
wake people up in the middle of the night, like, will you please do a scene with me? Like, he has to have a scene partner. So it really turns into like a punishment for the whole house, and people are quickly exhausted by it.
I will say last night on the feeds, they did their have-not feast. Like, as soon as it turns midnight for Thursday morning, the have-nots can eat. So they're like cooking a big meal.
Yes.
Every single person's around the table, and they called Ian to do it. And he got up on the table. Everyone's there, like, real good energy for like his last performance. That was fun to see, except for Memphis, because Memphis literally goes to bed at like 10 p.m. in the HOH room, and he was the only one not there. The entire house is there.
He's a dad. He's not staying up late.
Not for you. Okay. Anyway, back to veto.
Yeah. So in between when they pick the players and we play the veto, this is when we get this conversation with Nicole Franzel being nervous about being a backdoor target. It's Tyler, Nicole, Danny, and Christmas are talking, and then Memphis kind of comes out and joins them. And Nicole to Memphis is like, why me? And he's like, I don't know. And he does know why. Like, he knows that Janelle said that Nicole has won and she's sneaky. And going after a winner is like actually a valid strategy. But like Memphis, again, is just choosing the path of least resistance. And I don't know, is much easier than giving the real reason. Right. So Nicole is in the DR. As in, people are frustrated with Nicole because everybody loves Janelle, right? And nobody's happy that Nicole Franzel's coming after Janelle. But I think the way Nicole Franzel's playing this is very smart for her to put on her victim coat and say, I don't know what Janelle has against me. What did I do to her? It's like, you didn't do anything except you won Big Brother. And that's a reason for someone to target you, to get you out of the house. But like, she's making it personal, which I actually think is kind of a smart strategy.
Look, that's what Danny and Nicole did from the minute they walked into the house. They were like, oh, Janelle's here. Oh, no, what a big target. Oh, she's the queen of Big Brother. She's got to go. I mean, that was their game plan. That was their strategy. And it leaked out to Janelle. So guess what? Janelle's got their names on her mouth. She's like, oh, then Nicole's got to go, Franzel. And now Franzel's like, oh my God, how dare she come after me? But she has armed herself with a bunch of shields who are willing to take out Janelle for her. So yes, we've seen her play this strategy twice before. It's the same one. Block herself with shields, tell everyone who you're worried about, and they'll take care of it for you. Nothing new there.
It's working again. Yeah. So then Tyler says to Memphis, like, well, okay, what's the move? Kind of suggesting like, Janelle and Casey are coming after your alliance. Right. What are you going to do about it? Yeah. And Memphis is like, I don't know that there is a move.
No.
Again, least resistance. He's not going to backdoor anybody.
Look, I go to sleep early all by myself every night. Nothing else to do, guys. We're good. They're like, we are not good, Memphis.
Yeah. Right. And I thought we were working together. But again, like you said in our last video, Sarah, working together to Memphis means that he's just not going to nominate you. He's not going to help you in any other way.
His rules are so different than what we're used to.
But I'm looking at this and I'm like, Memphis is kind of shooting himself in the foot here. He already has by spilling the information that Janelle and Kaser gave him to Cody, who then spread it to the rest of the alliance. Because like you were saying, to your point, he was situated really well between his alliance and now Janelle and Kaser. He's getting info from both sides of the house, but now his alliance is freaked out about Janelle and Kaser. They already were, but like now they're targeting them even harder. I feel like Memphis could have done a better job of just kind of keeping this quiet to keep getting information from Janelle and Kaser moving forward. Yeah. But I think he kind of screwed himself.
Well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Are we playing the veto?
We are playing the veto.
All-Starry Night. I thought this was such a Survivor comp.
Yes. I mean, they're doing a lot with set deck to make very simple simple competitions look complicated. Like they're just holding balancing a ball on a plate here. Yeah. But they've got platforms and lighting and all kinds of stuff to make it look cooler than it is.
Which they don't need to do. At least I don't feel like they do, because they're locking these house guests out of the house for like 5 days in a week because they're building up these sets for the smallest little comp. Like, just give them half the yard.
Yeah.
for as many days as possible, and then just have them balance a ball on a plate. Like, that's fine
cool.
if that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, right.
Let's do
because
it.
like I gotta say, like, I can see that they're just balancing a ball on a plate still. Like, even though you've got this cool setup, I know ultimately what the comp is. Like, you're not fooling anybody with this. So
yeah. Hi, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, hi, Tom.
I was also on the edge of watching this comp because the girls were talking on the feeds about, like, there's no way a woman could do this. Like, I was personally ready to wave my feminist flag on Twitter and be like, CBS, how dare you come at us with a biased comp? And now I'm watching this going, Parvati would have killed this comp. So
yeah, for sure.
I didn't get to wave my feminist flag.
Yeah, right. I think this is one of the more like equal opportunity competitions. Like, yeah, you have to have arm strength, but it's not like you're holding up 50 pounds. Like, you're holding up a plate with a ball. You know, it's more about balance than strength, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Memphis did say it was heavy. So if Memphis said it was heavy, maybe it's heavier than we're realizing. But I still was like, anyone could do this. But yeah, unfortunately, Nicole Anthony falls out real quick.
Like, she said seconds. It was like very fast.
Probably was. Maybe it was a minute. I don't know.
Yeah. And Nicole Franzel is like quick to follow her. She was, I thought she was like protesting a little bit too much. She's like, oh, this is so heavy. Oh, it burns. Oh, like, I'm like, okay, we get it. It's like a heavy plate. Okay.
But I don't know that she would throw it because I do think she really thought she could possibly be backdoored. So I think she would have saved her butt if she could have.
I kind of thought that she was throwing it just because I was like, you're being way too dramatic here. Like, it reminded me of like when, you know, James threw that like dizzy comp in the first BB All-Stars where it was like, you're not winning an award for this performance, sir. I kind of felt the same way about Nicole Franzel. But I think you're right. Like, we saw
why not
got about being backdoored. So she's probably she doesn't totally trust Memphis. So she probably was really trying.
Yeah. And so then it's down to these dudes who I think are all very much trying to win this. And again, Tyler loves to throw a competition. So I wasn't sure that he would be willing to take David down, but it sounds like he was. But then again, he has lied to us in the DR before. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a little soundbite from him before we went into the veto of like, Tyler wants Memphis to show his cards. So I'm going to play hard for this veto. So I guess he really meant that. Like, I agree with you. I would expect Tyler to kind of float under the radar for a little bit longer and not be out there as a comp beast. But here we are.
But the best part of this comp was David screaming. He's like, yes. Did you skip over this part? He just was like, I'm going to start trying to throw people off their game. And he just was like, and then people watching were like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is amazing. Please yell some more. That was my favorite part of this comp. And then Memphis was like, oh, how amateur. And I was like, Memphis, stop it.
Oh, God.
Why do you have to put him down all of that time?
Yes. What was amateur? David loses because he's looking at Memphis. And that's when his ball falls off. So I'm like, as much as I hate to say it, Memphis, you got a point. He's an amateur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many times have we seen that where on Survivor usually where they're like, look over to see their competition. It makes them lose balance and they don't look over, guys. Don't look
just
over.
Focus on you. Just do you. So David's out. It's down to Tyler and Memphis. But ultimately, like we spoiled in our last video, Memphis does win this veto. So he's got all the power this week. I'm sure he's thrilled because he's already been on a power trip and now he has more. So this is just best case scenario for Memphis. And we knew that he wanted to control, like, he's got both sides of the house coming at him saying backdoor somebody. So I'm sure he was like, I just got to squash this and win the veto myself and keep the noms the same.
Yeah, so that I don't put anyone else up. Exactly.
Right.
So Memphis, who's never up after 10 p.m., won a comp that didn't start until after midnight. Who would have thunk it? But here we are.
He was well rested for this comp.
Yeah, apparently. He probably got a nap in. So first thing we see is Danny's upset with Memphis because she's like, come on, let's go. Let's backdoor someone. And he's like, please stop making me.
Well, she's like, Janelle and Keith are coming after us. And he's like, And she's like, why are you being like this? Like, aren't we working? Aren't we in an alliance? You know, and he's like, well, yeah, I just like you
Right.
don't. Again, it's just his strategy has been very obvious. People are just really trying hard to like break it down. Like, we want you to actually make a move. And he's like, I don't know how many times I can say it. I'm not making a move this week.
Yeah.
Either David or Nicole is going home. Period. End of sentence. Go to your room. I'm going to sleep. Good night.
Yes. Go to your room. But of course, he has to go complain about this to Cody. I mean, Cody really is his number one. Like, he tells Cody everything.
Sure.
And he's like, don't you come at me telling me to do something that you wouldn't do. And I do love that point because Danny wouldn't backdoor Janelle or put up Janelle. She's too scared to put Janelle up. So I love that point. But then Cody throws it back at him and is like, I would backdoor Kaser 100%. I'm telling you, I'll do it.
Oh, okay. Well, Memphis is like, all right, I gotta go. So I'm gonna go to bed now.
Right. But ultimately, Memphis isn't going to use it, just like we spoiled on Monday.
Right.
He doesn't do it. And you know what? He doesn't host nearly as well as Enzo does. Remember Enzo's veto?
God, I want
this is the veto ceremony.
This is the veto. I have the power to change one of the nominations.
I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it, yo.
I feel like he hosted the veto comp, and I didn't get enough of him. You know,
I need more of it. I need more of
it.
We
need more Enzo hosting.
Memphis's hosting's boring. He just doesn't use it. Nicole and David are still on the block, and obviously, they're not happy about that. Danny says Memphis is making rookie moves, which I loved because he's all like, "David's a rookie."
Yeah, right. She's like, actually, Memphis, you're the rookie. Nicole Anthony is like, I'm going to campaign. If it doesn't work, I'm going to blow up the house. And I'm like, oh, is this like house meeting tease? Because we were teased all week about a house meeting that never ultimately happened, which I think is probably for the best. But
it is.
Yeah, it is. She's motivated to do something.
Yeah. So look, what Memphis did was really boring, and it was also a bit annoying. But honestly, it's not a bad game move. He just collected so many people giving him intel.
Yeah.
He might have also made some people mad, but he got someone evicted that very few people are fighting for, and it doesn't really mess up his game. So I can't fault him for his choices. I just will make fun of him though.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So beginning of
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday's episode, you can tell from the first second of this episode that the producers are loving this Nicole Franzel-Janelle rivalry because we get PRs from both of them that are like so pissed that Memphis didn't backdoor the other, you know?
The other one, yeah. They're very clearly coming for each other. BB wants to set up that war for us, absolutely. But of course, Memphis is like, I'm not showing my cards. No way.
No.
Okay,
Nicole Anthony starts her campaign
with Nicole's campaign. We see her talk today. Now, Davon was like the star of the first half of this episode. She was like,
truly, yeah.
Let's follow her around and get all of her thoughts because she's DR Gold. I don't blame like this, of course. Give me all Davon.
Yeah, and she kind of had like a compelling storyline to tell in Nicole's campaign because initially she's just straight up with Nicole and she's like, I told myself I was not going to vote out a black person in this game. Maybe it's not the best game move, but like I've made a promise to myself. There's never been a black winner of Big Brother. And so I am not going to be a part of voting out someone who looks like me. And Nicole's like, I respect that, but let's get Davon to the finals. Just think about it. You know, like I love that Nicole doesn't fully give up on her pitch. Cause I feel like I would be like, okay, I get it. I'll leave you alone. You know, like if that's how you feel, then I'm probably not going to get through to you and I'll just go with other people. But Nicole kind of does just like plant a little tiny seed before she goes, which I respected. And then we get Kaser talking to Davon, right?
Yeah. Right. So yeah, when Kaser starts his pitch of like, we need to put together these 6 people, he thinks these 6 people are on the outs. He is wrong. He's talking about
Tyler, Cody, Danny, Nicole Franzel.
No, he's pitching to Davon. We got to get you, Bailey, Christmas, Kevin, Nicole Anthony, me, and Janelle.
Yeah. And maybe 7. Ian.
Well, they have to throw in Ian at some point because they don't have the numbers, but Ian, that didn't work. Ian immediately shot it down. So that didn't really last. But yeah, I love that Davon was like, you trying to take me, take me out to dinner. You trying to marry me? Take me out to dinner. Give me some crab legs.
Right. But I think the issue here is that Kaser is telling Davon, like, it's Tyler, Cody, Danny, Nicole, Franzel, and David's kind of on the outskirts of this.
Right.
So not calling out David directly as a problem, but like on the periphery of a problem. So Davon goes to David and she's like, this is what I'm hearing. Is this true? Give me some names, like give me some info. And he's like, I got nothing for you. And she's like, I'm being candid with you. You're not going to be candid with me. And he's like, you got to calm down. And that, you don't say that to Davon. You just don't.
You really don't. Okay. I don't know who, I don't know anyone who's like, I'm working with you, but I'm also working with other people that I'm not going to tell you anything about. Don't you worry about it. Just trust me. No, that's not going to work. How's that going to work?
It's truly a strategy I had never considered for him to say, I can tell that you're campaigning to keep me, but if you could stop, because I think, it's just not great. And I'm like, David.
Hey, what? I know you're campaigning for me, but you need to calm down. Oh, okay. Whoop. Well, that does not go over well. And I love that, like, Bailey immediately was like, what did you just say? She didn't like play it off. Like, oh, all right, let me talk to her. And then like change her tune. She's like, bad move, buddy. So in reality, this did happen like 2 nights ago where Day and Bay are like, I'm done with him. Like, this is how he's going to play. Like, we're not going to support this. Yeah. And it got Janelle and Kaser all excited, and they end up, thinking they've got Christmas on board too, because Christmas is playing all sides and lying to them. And so they're like, Nicole, we got it. You're safe. All is well. Of course, Davon and Bailey wake up the next morning going, we need to really think, like, we're not really going to vote out David. Right. We're going to work with him.
Yeah. But you're right that like now we get Kaser, who's like kind of convinced that he can get the votes. He's like, I can at least make it a tie. He's thinking maybe we just need to get Davon and Bailey and Ian. Like we can definitely get Kevin. So like this situation leads Kaser to be like, I think I can do this. Then things really start to fall apart. Nicole is like, because I think Kaser makes a comment about like, it's all about getting David out because David's a problem because XYZ. And Nicole's like, well, okay, it's not because I can help you by staying. I guess I'm just expendable. Like as soon as as soon as you want to get rid of me, you can just get rid of me. And he's trying to stop her from going inside, but she doesn't want to hear it. And then she's got so many people in her ear telling her that Janelle does not really have her back. We see Nicole, Franzel, and Danny talking about Janelle's a schemer. You can't trust her. Even Kevin is like, I think Janelle and Kaser are destroying your game. And when that many people are saying things to you, it's really hard to deny it, to keep denying it and say, no, like, I think they really are my friends. It's so hard.
It is hard. And we got to remember that. Got to remember that once you're in this house, people are lying left and right, and they're making things bigger than they need to be because they're trying to save their own butts in their own game. And I was wondering how CBS was going to edit all this together because it was a painful week. I mean, we talked about this a little bit on Monday with how like Nicole had kind of been gaslit to think that Janelle and Kaser were against her, but she went hard against Janelle and Kaser. And we talked about how like Janelle was emotional. And so the way they edited it together was pretty decent. Like you get the gist without having to live through all of that pain.
All of the panic attacks and it was a lot of crying that they didn't show. And it was a lot of
crap talking. Like so many people are like, Janelle's vicious. Kaser is like coming after us needlessly. Like as if this isn't a game that they're all playing. It was like true attacks from Janelle and Kaser, and Nicole Anthony was just caught up in it and like, I hate them and they're horrible and I can't believe they're doing this to me. So she really was like, the clips that they showed was when Nicole was like at her wit's end. And she was like
Mm-hmm.
threatening a house meeting, but instead of a house meeting, she just kind of went off on Janelle and was like, you didn't do enough for me. Look at, really
do
throwing,
you care about me?
Yeah, some thick layer onto Janelle. And Janelle's like, oh my God, like I'm doing so much for her, which she was. So I'm glad that CBS showed us how upset Janelle really was.
Yeah. Other than that, like the only thing we really saw in the episode itself was Nicole saying to Cody, like, if I stay, I'm definitely coming after Janelle and Kaser. We get a little bit from Cody where he's like, like maybe I do want to keep this girl around so she can like do the work for me. So we see like little seeds of that. But you're right. There was so much just like dirty stuff that happened this week that, they showed us the highlights. We got the story.
And all of those little questioning, all of that little stuff were just a couple minutes. Like, and then people moved on, it was like, do I think about this? No, thank you. Like it was always going to be saving David, and Nicole was leaving, and it was just messy for really no real reason. But where are we here? Are we
it
under
is a
their
bit like, sorry,
yet?
Before we move on, I just like, it is, you're right. Like it always kind of was going to be Nicole Anthony leaving. So the fact that like Nicole Franzel and Danny were like doing so much manipulation of her is like, you're right. I think a little bit needlessly messy. Like, why did we need to fire Nicole Anthony up so much against these two when you all were going to ultimately vote her out of the house? It's just like,
it was. I thought it was so unnecessary because like Bailey is working on Janelle. Like she told everyone, like, I'm just in with Janelle friendly, but I'm reporting all the information back. And she's bringing all the info to Cody. Like she's a double agent. She's playing that floater rack game right in the middle. But when she goes to Cody, when she goes to Danny or Nicole Anthony, she's adding that layer of like hate. She's adding that layer of like, oh, Janelle is doing this. And then she said that, like, how dare she? She's got no compassion. And it's just like, I get the game you're playing and you're saving your butt, but that extra stuff, I just don't think is necessary. Because then you turn to Janelle and Kaser and they're not doing it. They're not like crapping on other people. They're just trying to figure out the game.
They're literally laughing about how screwed they are. There was one moment, I forget when it happened, but Janelle's like, I can read your thoughts, Kaser. And he's like, what am I thinking? And she's like, how screwed we are. I mean, she doesn't.
Yes.
But it's just, and then they just laugh about it. They're like, there's no way we're winning this game.
Right. And they're like, why do we come back? We love this game so much. And here we are. And like, we're so screwed. Yeah, exactly. They're just like trying to figure out where the house is and who's with who. And everyone else is like, oh, they're such horrible people. It's like, what? Like, just everyone's playing a game. Like, just get on board with playing a game. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So we come back to the live eviction episode. Julie says, happy birthday to Danny. Happy birthday, Danny. And then we get speeches from David and Nicole. David's is kind of tame. He says that, Nicole is his best block buddy ever, sad to like be sitting next to you.
He's grateful, pun intended, to be there.
Yes. And then Nicole Anthony, I kind of liked how she fired a few shots, She was like, everybody vote for what's best for your game. Like, let's play this game. Let's not be scared. Memphis, big tough man.
Oh,
good job targeting little old me.
Little old me, big tough man. I loved that dig. And the reason we did get that dig, because Nicole, she's feisty and she wanted to blow something up this week. But luckily, she and Janelle did kind of work some stuff out. Like she did kind of figure out that she was wrong, that they weren't working against her. So because she was going to blow up Janelle and Kaser. Okay, she did already blow up their game all week long. But in her speech, she was going to attack them. So I'm glad that it was directed towards Memphis, because that's really who put you up and got you evicted. Yeah,
let's not forget that he was the HOH that got you evicted. So she takes a little shot at him. Not that it's like blowing up his game in any way, but I appreciated the dig. She knew she was going to head out the door. So like she had nothing to lose at that point, which was nice. Now the vote was interesting. The
It was.
first interesting thing to me was that Enzo voted to evict David. When that happened, I was like, was there a flip? And like, are we headed for a tie, or even because if Enzo is voting for David, like maybe they did get Davon and Bailey and obviously Kevin, maybe Ian, and maybe they got the votes to get David out. But no, Enzo was just throwing a hinky vote because the only other vote for Nicole was Kevin, her ride or die. So it was a 10-2 vote, and Nicole is evicted.
I mean, I'm here for it. I don't know who Enzo wants to pin that on, because I thought Janelle and Kaser were going to vote to evict David no matter what. So they changed their mind. Had they voted to evict David anyway, I thought Enzo was setting up Bailey and Davon because he is questioning them right now. But if maybe he realized what was going on, and so he's pinning it on Janelle or something. I mean, not that anything needs to be pinned on them. The world is working against them already.
Yes.
So,
but I will say, like, the way that Nicole Anthony went out reminded me why we love her, right? Like, it was hugs for everybody, even for Memphis. She was like, get over here, you big lug. Like, I got a hug for you too. Don't you worry. Yeah. It just was like very sweet energy. No hard feelings, love for everybody. And it's like, oh, Nicole, like, this is why we loved you. This is why you were America's favorite player. Sad to see you go, but I kind of think it's for the best. I think it's absolutely for the best. I'm so worried about her mental health. It was not fun to watch. She obviously didn't work through the trauma she went through last season. So I wanted to see her play again, but now I don't. So now I want her to go home, and I hope she takes a minute off of the internet and works through some stuff. But Julie was not happy with Nicole's behavior this week, and she had some receipts and she wanted to say a couple things for her. She let her know. And I think I appreciated that she gave her this info so that Nicole could stay off the internet. You know, she like got a little bit of info, and so she doesn't need to like go digging to find out who was on her side. Julie straight up is like, so point one, Janelle and Kaser were campaigning for you all week long. They had your back. And as soon as she said that, I was like, okay, no battle back, because Julie's just spilling game secrets, you know, that Nicole does not know. So there is no battle back option for Nicole. And then, you know, Nicole does admit, like you were saying, like, yeah, I kind of figured out that Janelle was on my side. She was campaigning for me. We like kind of worked that out before. And she,
I was starting to wonder, and she was like, is this crazy? And we're like, yes, this is crazy. Logically doesn't make sense what you're saying right now. So she's like, I was wondering. And then Julie's like, yes, let me show you the people that were against you right here. This is the group. And she's like,
yes. She like straight up shows the 6 who were responsible ultimately for, you know, getting Nicole out, which I thought I'd never seen an exit interview like this, or at least like not in a long time. Like this
I don't remember.
I thought a great exit interview of just to see a house guest kind of get all of this info that maybe they suspected to a certain extent, but didn't fully know.
Weren't sure, made a mistake, realized, whoops. I didn't see it right.
Much different, much more vanilla. This is like actually interesting to watch. And then she's like, let's see her goodbye messages. Kaser is like, Nicole, we failed you. And Nicole breaks down.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to get home and there's no footage of Janelle and Kaser being like, let's just forget about it and move on. All they did was work for her and say, we love her so much. She's so wonderful. Like, we would never, you know. So anyway, I wish Nicole all the best in her life, in her mental health. And I know it's tough to go into the house and be completely paranoid and gaslit and confused. So it is what it is. It stinks for all of us who wanted to root for her, and especially her working with Janelle. That was like a dream. A dream. And then it just became a nightmare.
Truly. Yeah. So she says, you know, I owe Janelle apologies. She's like still crying. Julie's like, all I want to do is give you a hug, but I can't. I'm so sorry.
And then she's like, Janelle cried for you. Get out of here.
Get
How dare you make Janelle cry?
Oh
And
my
Nicole's
God.
like, oh my God, okay. All right, let's go play an HOH.
Let's play shuffleboard. Sarah, you know this. You know, Sarah, that I love watching shuffleboard on television.
This feels like when we
if you
watch
joined us
Survivor.
on, yes, if you joined
Heroes
us on
versus
Patreon
Villains.
for Heroes Villains, you know how much
David does not like
do not love a shuffleboard.
a shuffleboard or a bowling or any basic game like that.
I don't
thought it was
like
great.
games that they might play in like a senior living community. Right? I like something a bit more intense than that. But I understand they're like working under limitations here. So, and this one was,
Are they? Because they built up a whole set. So are they built? Are they under limitations?
All right,
no.
fair point. But this one is timed, so it's a bit more intense than we had seen on Survivor previously. And God, it was close, Sarah. It was close.
I enjoy shuffleboard, for the record, and I enjoy throwing beers down a bar or something. There's like a lot of bar themes. Like somebody was like, I miss going to a bar during quarantine. I think
they're like, we're not going to give you real alcohol, but we'll give you plastic alcohol.
But they're timed, so even if there's a tie, whoever has the fastest time. So you're like, you're not going to take the time to like really line it up and get it right. They're rushing through.
Right.
And we do a nice build. Honestly, Cody misses one. Enzo's up there for a while with an 8.
And Ian beats Enzo, where you're like, whoa, Ian. All right.
Ian in the house with a 10. You're like, oh my gosh. And honestly, I would have been okay with an Ian HOH because
me too.
He's not, just out here hating people. He's playing a game. So I would have been down with that.
Yeah.
Then Tyler just steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park.
Gets 12 points. And
Dang.
then
remember, he was a bowler in like high school. He was like on a bowling team.
Stop bringing up bowling, Sarah. Stop it.
Tyler and I have something in common. We both love bowling. So I'm just saying, not surprised he would be very good at this comp.
Yes. And then Nicole Franzel actually does really well. I think she got 11 points right after Tyler, but it's not enough. And then I think
she got 9.
Oh, she did? Okay.
But I'll tell you who got 11 was Janelle. Janelle got 11 because you know who else is good at these types of comps? Janelle.
Yes. It was such a, she literally just, 1 point, she just shoved it a little bit harder. And she was faster. Even if she had tied Tyler, she got a faster time. So she would have beat him with the time aspect, but it just didn't matter because she was 1 point slower. You immediately see in her body language. It was interesting that they said random order that everybody's going to go in, and Janelle and Kaser were both last.
I know. I was like, that means the BB gods are on our side. They're last, and they're just building up the tension, and then Janelle's going to step up to the plate, and she's going to kill it.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
No, and then Kaser shoved one of them off the table, and so you immediately know the max he's going to get is 10, it's over. And so Tyler's the HOH. So it's a bummer for people who wanted to, see the power shift in the house. Of course, so many people are rooting for Janelle and Kaser right now because they're the underdogs, right? And we all love rooting for underdogs, or a lot of us do.
And also they're just playing the game.
And they're incredibly lovable this season.
They really are.
If they weren't already, it's just been such a treat to see them reconnecting, see how their relationship is the same in so many ways after so many years, having not stayed in touch necessarily, but they're just so great together, and it will be a bummer when one of them goes home. Yeah,
it's a bummer that they're gonna be on the block, you guys. There's no sugarcoating it. Look, and I'm not taking anything away from Tyler. I'm a Tyler fan. He is so good at this game, and he has put himself in a great position. He's got several final 2s, and he's got a lot of secret relationships that he values. He's working hard with David. He's working hard with Christmas. I think those are his closest allies. But he's also working with Cody. He's working with Enzo and Memphis. He's got all these outskirt relationships. There's no way he doesn't put up Janelle and Kaser because everyone else is telling him to.
Yes.
And it's not going to hurt his game to do it.
Nope. Yeah. He's ready to take the shot that Memphis couldn't. He wanted Memphis to take the shot. He was playing the veto so hard to try to force Memphis to take the shot. So like, it's going to happen, you know, and they don't have their safety suite. So it's just kind of inevitable that they will at least be the initial nominees. We'll see what happens with veto.
The people who can play this week are Enzo, Danny, Tyler, doesn't have to, Nicole Franzel, we just call her Nicole now, and Memphis.
Right. So all of them, I think, with the exception of Tyler, they'll play, you know, just because like it's the last week of safety suite. So why not? Just like give yourselves an easy week. I don't see a reason for any of them not to play. But that's who's left. But it's not going to change anything. You know, like those people are all kind of in with Tyler, and they're not going to pick Janelle or Kaser to be their +1. So
exactly. The only possible wrinkle is like I do think Tyler is upset with Memphis, and he could backdoor Memphis if Janelle or Kaser take themselves down. But I just don't know that he'd have the votes because the rest of the house can just easily vote out Janelle or Kaser without showing their cards about anything else. Because like everyone is kind of getting trapped. Like Bay and Day are not in a good place. They are getting caught left and right, scheming in the middle. But and same thing like Danny and Cody, they're getting caught scheming, and Nicole F and Danny and Nicole F and Ian, like everyone's kind of getting caught. But like if you just target Janelle and Kaser, you don't have to say, oh, I'm with this person or this person, because that's what the house is talking about. So
but I mean it could get interesting only because like Tyler is the type of player who could see an opportunity with keeping Janelle and Kaser in the house. Like maybe I buddy up with just like Tyler keeps all of his options open all the time. So he could be like, well, maybe I want to keep Janelle and Kaser. They don't have anybody else. So maybe they need me and I can get them to do what I want. Like that's what Tyler does, right? Like he surrounds himself with people who will do the work for him. So, you know, you make a good point that like Memphis kind of exposed himself as someone that Tyler can't fully trust. So maybe he's like, you're actually not helping me. My strategy is to work with people who will do my dirty work, and you refused to do my dirty work last week. So like, you got to go. But I think you're right that even if he does put Memphis up as a backdoor against either a Kaser or Janelle, they're going home. Kaser or Janelle. So
I mean, I would love to see Tyler come up with something else and something fun and weird and different, and look at Janelle and Kaser as like two people that he could put in his side pocket secretly, because he did try to work with Janelle in the very beginning. So maybe in the back of his head, he's like, secretly keep them, and you know, put up a Kevin next to somebody. I don't know. That's the thing. I can't think of anything else that he's going to do. So
I know.
I mean, he's smarter than me, so maybe he can do it. I don't know. But Patty, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that. There was a question. Sorry, I missed your chat, but in the chat, they were asking if it was a live episode. And I don't think it was, even though there's no audience, so we don't know for sure, but it sounded like they put out that they were going to record it earlier.
Yeah, and that's why read something on Twitter about how they had already recorded the HOH and the vote, etc. So it may not have been really live.
I'm not sure why. Maybe the crew just wanted to get out of work earlier, so they're recording it earlier and not live. But it doesn't look like it's live right now. Seth, thank you for the super chat. Yes, we need an emotional support fund.
Truly. Especially after this upcoming week. We're going to really need it.
And honestly, if we do have Janelle and Kaser on the block together, everyone has a different opinion of who is more threatening and who should go. So that will be interesting to see who they think they should target.
And like interesting to see what they're going to do against each other. Like, I can't imagine that they're going to go around trashing one another.
Oh, no.
They love each other. They've been each other's only person in the house the whole game. Like, how does that play out, you know?
Yeah. And hopefully one of them takes themselves off with a veto.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That would be
we'll
nice.
See. Well, I don't know. I wish I had happier news.
I know.
But here we are with probably a week full of people talking crap about Janelle and Kaser again.
Another one. I know. Ugh.
But I do think there's other fun stuff happening though, because we've got a lot of little pairs and trios that kind of overlap. We've got a ton of fake alliances. My gosh.
I know.
So many, like this group, and then take out this one person and add this different person. And then this group, take out this, like it's all over the place, and people's games are already starting to blow up. So that is fun and exciting. Like keep an eye out for that, you guys.
Yeah. It's like only a matter of time with that stuff, you know, like that's why this Janelle and Kaser wanted the HOH so badly this week, because I think they understand, like, if we can just make it through a certain number of weeks, these like alliances that were formed on day one, these things fall apart, things change, you know, loyalties shift in the game. And I think they just understand, like, we just need to like make it through. And then maybe we have a chance when these people start to turn on each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Do you
with all
think that Memphis would save Janelle if he won Safety Suite?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's saving either of them, because like that's the ultimate.
That would be a big move.
That you don't want to show.
Yeah, Memphis is not into big moves, remember? So I don't know who he would save, because I don't know that he'd want to save Cody and like make it obvious.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd save Janelle or Kaser, because that's also an obvious move of like, I'm protecting them. So
I mean, you know, let's secret it. Let's put it into the universe and see if it comes back. You know, Memphis, please choose Janelle as your +1. I said it.
How do we save both Janelle and Kaser? How do we do it, universe? Send us the answer, please.
Yes.
Please.
One of them selected as +1 for safety, and then the other one wins veto.
Veto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
boom. Done. Great. We've solved the whole season now. You guys, thank you so much for joining us in the chat. We appreciate all that. And if you're joining us later, please leave us a comment how you feel about this week. Nicole Anthony, Tyler, HOH, Janelle and Kaser. Oh, so much to talk about.
So much. Let us know what you think, and we will see you guys on Monday, right, Sarah? When we will hopefully have our special guest.
Hopefully. We tentatively have our special guest. So we will hopefully have that on Monday, where we will be recapping the Sunday episode, obviously, and then we'll be talking about veto spoilers. And then.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.